Hey, this is Braden with Pickleball Effect. Today I've got the Joola Essentials with me. So this is their beginner level paddle, but it's supposed to be a higher end beginner level paddle. So this costs about 60 bucks. And then I have another paddle here I got from Amazon for $30. These are both beginner level paddles, but I wanted to see how this compared to something you could get that's cheaper to see if it was worth the money. Let's go put this on the court and see how it plays.
Let's first talk about how the Essentials feels in comparison to the cheap Amazon paddle. The Joola has a much more quality, lively feel off the face compared to the Amazon paddle, which actually felt kind of hollow and sort of dead. I didn't really like it. Though the Joola felt more lively in comparison, I would still call it a control paddle. The paddle absorbs pace well and doesn't return much power on bigger swings. This is a good attribute to have in an entry-level paddle like this because slowing the ball down and reducing pop-ups is the hardest thing to learn, so having a paddle that helps you slow the ball down is a good thing. Another thing you notice real quick when comparing the paddles is that the Joola Essentials is more forgiving and doesn't twist in your hands as easily on off-center hits. Joola touts that their Essentials paddle has multiple facing layers of fiberglass, and I bet that's a big part of the reason it's more forgiving and has a better feel to it. Additionally, the Joola is a bit heavier at about 8 ounces on average, which also helps add more feel and stability to the paddle. The extra forgiveness and stability of the Joola over the Amazon paddle is worth the extra $30 in my opinion. Sticking with the soft game, because the paddle absorbed the pace so well, it helped with executing soft shots like drops, resets, and dinks. The paddle does have a harder feel to it, so it takes some getting used to and some time to adjust before you get a good feel for it. You probably wouldn't notice that it has a harder feel unless you played other higher end control paddles that have a more plush, soft feel to them. That's one of the things you give up with a less expensive paddle. It just doesn't have that same soft feel that higher end paddles have. Let's talk about some of its offensive capabilities. The Essentials and the Amazon paddle had similar power ratings, though I may have been able to hit it a little bit harder with the Amazon paddle. It was a little tricky to tell. The one advantage the Essentials has over the Amazon paddle when it comes to offense is a higher spin rating. The surface on the Amazon paddle was completely smooth while the Joola had some texture to it. The Joola could produce average spin while the Amazon one was below average. Though the Joola didn't offer a high power rating, I thought it was good enough, especially at the entry level player stage. As you get better and play better people, you'll want more power down the road, but not at this stage of the game. Here, control trumps power. Ultimately, the extra stability and forgiveness of the Joola is what you're paying for with the extra dollars over the Amazon paddle. Those two attributes pay big dividends with every shot in the game and help you reduce errors in general. And in regards to what you're losing by going with an entry-level paddle instead of a top-tier paddle, is you just don't get that same plush feel, you have a little less spin and power, and it's not going to be quite as forgiving as higher-end control paddles are. I also want to talk about the durability of the Joola compared to the Amazon one. The Joola has multiple facing layers and feels much more durable. Although I didn't play with either paddle for a long enough time to test the durability, I'd be willing to bet that the Joola has a much longer life before it develops any dead spots. The last couple of things I'll mention are the handle and the looks. The handle is on the shorter side and is pretty slim. I didn't like the slim feeling. If you have bigger hands, then you will need to either buy a bigger grip replacement or add some overgrips to build it up. The grip is also white, which isn't great. It gets dirty pretty fast and I didn't like that. Talking about the looks, I prefer the Joola design and looks over the Amazon paddle by a mile. I would honestly be a little embarrassed to pull out the Galaxy paddle, but the Joola looks clean and it's a well-known brand, so you feel more confident with it on the court. So that's all I have for you. Thanks for watching and I hope it helped.